Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Vallen, and this is Tinker's Construct 2. Getting started, plus we've got some new tanks and furnaces. Instead, we're going to get further on into progression. You notice that this is still flint, and I might be able to, replace it with wood or something like that, but there are some much better materials that you can use on your tools. For instance, we need to make a smeltery in order to get most of them because they are considered metals and therefore must be poured into casts so that you can use them instead of carving them with different patterns. So where to begin with that? Once you've got yourself your beginning set up and you've gone and done some mining and so on, you need to find grout. Well, you're not really going to find it. You need to make it. So you either take a block of clay and 4 gravel and 4 sand, or a piece of clay, a piece of gravel, and a piece of sand, and you get either 2 or 8 grout. And then you smelt those in a furnace, and you get yourself a seared brick for each piece of grout. I am grout. Each brick can then be used to make different things. Your most standard is a seared brick, like so, part of the smeltery, safe for decoration. And if you notice in my other videos, there are many iterations that you can make of seared items as such. But in this case, we're going to keep it simple for demonstration purposes. Now, once you've got that, you're going to want to make a bunch of them. But you're going to want to also keep a bunch of these seared bricks because you need to make multiple parts to a smeltery. And this is where it starts. So you're going to need to make a controller as well as several of those bricks over there. A controller is made simply with just 8 of those seared bricks. And let me grab some of these materials. Actually, I already have some right now, so let me just make a bunch more. There we go. And I now have a bunch of seared bricks. You can put them down. It's expandable. To show an example, this here is another smeltery. It's very long. You can make it, very small. I think the smallest you can make is like a 1 block with 4 sides to it. But the idea is you need a bottom of, in all cases, it should probably be seared bricks. I think you might be able to switch that out on occasion, but then you'll need 4 sides around it, but above. It doesn't have to be, let's just use our old flinty here. It doesn't have to be down there. But to give an example, let's do this. And you see that I'm surrounding it, but that's just because I don't have space for it. So the only areas that you have to have some kind of items surrounding the smeltery is like so. So you can see it's got like a hollow spot in the center here. Now I'm going to clean these back up, and we'll continue on with the demonstration. So to make a complete smeltery multi-block, you need a controller. You will most undoubtedly need a smeltery drain so you can get liquids in and out of your smeltery. You will need some kind of tank as well. And you'll also need some place to pour these items. Now let's start with the smeltery drain is made simply with just 6 seared bricks as such. And you'll want to probably face it this way or that way, as they have holes on all the sides, and you can actually have liquids going out and in on most of the sides, except for the one that's facing inside, which you see here is that dark spot. Then you'll need a faucet, which is this little guy here. It's just made with 3 seared bricks, and you place it on the outside of a smeltery drain. Moving along from that, you need something to pour liquids into, which is going to be one of 2 things. Either a casting table made in kind of a pants or trousers shape as far as vanilla goes. Hello. Goodbye. All right. Or you make yourself a U shape for the casting basin. And the basin is primarily for blocks to be filled inside of or to pour entire blocks of ingots. Whereas the casting table is used for making things like casts to be filled, as well as ingots being poured into and such. As you see here, I can put things in there and pick it back up. It just kind of displays it. Same thing with the casting basin. Things will go down in there, not a problem. Now, tanks. This gets a little bit confusing. A lot of people think that you can only use one type of tank. No, that's not true. And you can replace most of the blocks around a smeltery with tanks or multiple drains and such like that. Now, as far as tanks go, they have their own setup. We've got several kinds. You've got your standard one here, which is your traditional, just made simply with 8 seared bricks and some glass in the center. And they can hold liquids as, hot or cold. Any of these types of tanks can. But then you've also got your seared gauge, which is the same thing, just a different name, and it looks a little different. It acts in the same way. Each one of these will hold 4 buckets worth of liquid, whether it be hot or cold. Personally, I really like the seared gauge. It's my favorite of them, but it requires more glass, less seared bricks, which overall is actually less blocks together because each seared brick is like kind of 3 blocks-ish, kind of. But anyway, then you've got your seared window, which kind of has like this curve to the inside look. And then it is made with 6 of the seared bricks and 3 of the glass, kind of an in-between. And these ones, they don't have any kind of connected textures. But if you notice, I have one more type over on the side here, and that is seared glass. It's just glass. Remember that. These ones are all called windows, tanks, and gauges. The glass is glass, and it has connected textures. It's made very cheaply with some seared bricks and a single piece of glass. And it does have connected textures, as you can see here. It is currently, there's 4 of them right there, and it looks really pretty. And it will be used later on for a different kind of tank. But for now, in a smeltery, it has no place. So there you go. We now have a smeltery, and it's safe to stand in when there are no liquids inside of it. Once you place down your seared tank, your controller, and any number of your seared bricks, possibly drains, hopefully you'll have at least one in there, then you should see the smeltery controller here. Just by right-clicking on the controller, you have options to put things in. Now, in this case, I have a lot of space. We can actually, let's grab some cobblestone here. If I just shift-click, it automatically fills them up. I can take them back out, put them back in, and then it'll have a little bit of cook time before they will come back out. Now, if you're having some trouble coming across enough materials to make grout so that you can make this as much as you want, one, if you have a lot of sand, well, then you can just add more gauges, which means that you can store more lava. And that's simply storable by, let me grab one of these here, taking a bucket, and you can just right-click your fluid and right-click, and it goes back in. Now, if you shift-click, you better be cautious because you might set yourself on fire if you're using lava because, well, that's just going to instead place it in front instead of putting it inside the block. So these are really good for taking places to, well, here, let me see. Is this finished? Yes? Yes, it is. You can see here that there are liquids inside. And if I grab this, you think, oh no, I lost everything. Well, don't worry, you didn't. But you can take this to the lava, place it down, bucket the lava in, break it, pick it up, bring it back home. So this is kind of a good way of storing the lava or other fluids that you may need to get your smeltery up and running. Now you can see that there is a liquid inside. It's dangerous. So therefore, if you or other entities fly in there or jump in there, you will take damage and possibly die. But if you notice, we have seared stone, 1 block. Interesting. All right. Well, what happens if I pour that out? I threw in there 4 of the cobblestone, so that poured in, and you can see it takes a little bit of time. It cools, and now I have seared stone. And you can use this to expand your existing smeltery. Now, it's not as pretty as the bricks given, but it's something to work with here, and you don't have to continuously look for more grout everywhere. Plus, it gives you other options for building. Now, as you noticed before, I had this setup going on. Now, you'll see that I have a bucket of lava in here. I have 2 buckets of lava in here, a bucket of lava here. Whoops, I fell down. And I've got another bucket over here. Plus, I've got lava inside the smeltery. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets of lava in the seared gauges, as well as the lava that's inside. Well, if I click on this smeltery controller, you can see it has 1 bucket inside and 5 buckets around. So every one of these tanks or gauges or whatever that you put around here that stores a fluid, it can access that as a fuel if you fill these up. So grabbing a bunch of these and replacing them with some kind of tank or gauge or something is going to make it easy for you to be able to do that. Now, there are other things that you should know. You can pour liquids out, as you saw before, but you don't have to pour them into the casting basin or the casting table. But in this case, I am going to show you that I can pour that lava that is inside. If you see here, it says 1 bucket. I can pour that directly into a bucket. That's right. I can pour the bucket of lava into the bucket. But there you go. And it works with water or other fluids as well that can be bucketed. And if you want to put any fluids inside, specifically I'm going to say water and lava because then you can make obsidian, you just kind of, shift. Do you want to shift click? No, you just want to click on a drain, not the faucet, on the drain, and it will put the liquid inside. You saw that. It just kind of did it. Now, I can't get it back out without pouring it. But that's all right. I've got a tank here. I can also right-click, and it will fill a tank, which works just the same way. And therefore, I could always pick this up and store it just like before. There we go. I now have it in my bucket. I could put it back in, click on the smeltery drain, and have it drain out into another spot. Now, if you have a casting basin, and because this stores a lot more than, an ingot's worth of material. It will store up to 9 ingots worth of a solid, like let's say you've got molten gold in there, and you only have enough to partially fill this, you can always drain it back out into a casting table with casts in it. But not to worry. Now, well, here, let's do this, and I think there's some water nearby, but there wasn't, so I just spawned some in. Anyway, I'm going to put some water in here too, and you can see that it made molten obsidian right away. 1 block. And I can't pour it into that because that's a casting basin, but there we go. I can pour it into, or that's a casting table. I can pour it into the casting basin and make myself a piece of obsidian to use to make myself a sharpening kit. Hey, free upgrade. Something else that's worth noting is that you can actually pour from one gauge or tank or whatever into another one just by adding a faucet. You right-click, and it will slowly pour from one into the other. Excellent. Now that this one, let's say, was connected to something I didn't want to put there, I can put the lava in there. There we go. Oh, but it won't mix the fluids because, well, tanks and gauges don't allow you to mix fluids. They keep it separate, unlike a smeltery or a tinker tank, which we'll get into shortly. Now, you might think, all right, well, what's this little smeltery controller sitting over here doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It is here to demonstrate that as long as the controller hasn't been picked up or moved, it will retain its information about what was there. Of course, I need some kind of other parts to the smeltery, because that is not a complete smeltery without the others. There we go. I now have a drain. And let's grab, you know what? Let's grab this tank, this gauge rather, right here that has some lava in it, because why not? And oh, hey look, water just popped in there because the water was there before, 1 bucket of water. So just by removing all these other items, it will still retain that information. So if you need to, expand your smeltery, just make sure that your controller is in a spot that you want it to be, and it will still retain all of its inside liquids. All right, so you've got a smeltery. It's up, it's running, it's got lava, it's got stuff in it perhaps. Oh boy. Well, what good's it going to be? This is how you're going to use it to upgrade a lot of tools. To start off with, there are casts that you'll need to make. There are 2 kinds. If you're still, broke and you can't afford to spend the materials like gold or aluminum brass, which some packs may allow you to create aluminum brass. In this case, recipe is going to be made with copper and aluminum, similar to how it was before, but if your pack or mod does not have aluminum or copper in it for that matter, you can always use gold in its place. But let's start with some of these here, and the poor man's method is to put some clay in there, and your clay will melt down eventually to a fluid, kind of a molten clay, and you can use that as a temporary means as well. There we go. molten clay, 2 blocks worth. I think that's a little bit more than I need, but we should be all right. So if you want to have something pour out, make sure that you just click it, left click, and it should go to the bottom. That means that it's going to drain out the bottom into what you are looking to do. Now let's start off by creating a cast for ingots, because you know what? I want to be able to make ingots. So let's use the aluminum brass that I have in here, and I can use a brick, like I did here, a seared brick. Now it used up the seared brick, but it can be used for regular ingots as well, and it created this cast, an ingot cast. So I can now pour ingots. Look, I've got more aluminum brass in here. I can pour an ingot of aluminum brass out if I wanted, or others like gold and iron, and this actually will perform an ore doubling mechanic. So if I put in a piece of iron ore, it will come out as 2 iron ingots. So therefore you can use this to a great benefit already without even having to make any tools with it. Now also, what can we do here? Well, let's put down this aluminum brass ingot and let's use gold. If you don't have anything in there, you can use gold. It can be a bit pricey, of course, but it will make the same thing. If we give it a second here, it will cool and make ourselves, look at that, an ingot cast. I now have 2. Well, that worked out just fine, but I still have other stuff in here. Molten clay. What can I do with that? Well, let's put this down. This is the poor man's method. Let's say that I want to make a pickaxe upgrade, but I don't want to spend the gold for it, and I don't have aluminum brass. Well, this is a temporary means. You can make a clay cast, but it's a one-time use. So in this case, you can see there it is now consumed, and I can pick it up, and it's a pickaxe head clay cast, material cost of 2, but it's only good for 1 use. So I'm going to put it in here, and I've got some molten cobalt in there. I'm going to make myself an upgrade for old Flinty here, and he is no longer going to be made of flint. I right click and I make cobalt, which is a Tinker's Construct ore that is only available through the Nether, unless you have some special mod pack means going on. There we go, pick that up. And now I should be able to upgrade old Flinty. Well, let's use this new and improved version of a tool forge, which is rather expensive. If you look here, tool forge, there are a lot of different colors. I have multiple mod packs installed, or multiple mods installed right now, so it's pulling from other options as well. But your standard is going to be blocks of iron, a tool station, and a bunch of seared bricks. Now you could use, pig iron, night slime, cobalt, ardite, etc. Whatever pleases you or tickles your fancy. You can switch it out so it's the color that you would like it to be. But there you go. You can make yourself a tool forge. Now this upgraded version should replace your old one. It actually, the recipe for it actually uses a tool station. So I recommend that you just kind of remove your old tool station and replace down your new and improved tool forge. And what this allows you to do is use bigger and better and meaner items and weapons, tools to your advantage. There's, hammers and lumber axes, scythes, and you've got access to a lot more really cool stuff. Now let's just start off by upgrading this pickaxe, though. I could do this in the old tool station, but I'm going to do it here, and look at that. The durability went up considerably, and the mining speed almost, another 50% maybe a little bit less than that. But there you go, my now cobalt pickaxe, which is going to be really sick on how fast it mines. And this is still just a level 2 modifier. There we go, pretty good. Pretty darn good. You can customize things to your advantage as you like. Nothing really too fancy there. And you should now understand how to use your smeltery, the tanks and things that you can use to make it, plus your tool forge allowing you access to your tier 2 weapons and items. But we're not getting into those because this is all about your tool forges and your smelteries, your tanks and furnaces. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it went a little bit longer than I had expected to, but hey, can't control everything in this case. So don't forget to give a like if you enjoyed this video, comment below if you have something to say, subscribe if you haven't already, and spread the mischief to others if you think that they'll enjoy this content. Until next time, folks, I'll see ya.